Hi, Maddie. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure this is working. Sorry, mic test. I mean, almost making it set to hard. Hold on. It looks good to me. Are you guys getting any issues? Well, we're here. We made it. It's Gotham Knights Day, baby. I'm so freaking excited for this game. So fucking excited. I would be even better if I had food that was supposed to be delivered, but it's fine. I'm fine. Martin, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. Maddie, I ordered hash browns and they didn't get delivered. Can you believe? Rotted. Hi, Lib. Rotted. It literally is. What do you mean continue? I haven't played yet. I'm nervous. I have high expectations. I hope this game doesn't disappoint. I want it to be louder, actually. Oh my god, there's a new Mandela catalog's coming. Today's a good day for me. Big win. I have like under boob right now. What's happening? What do you mean continue? I've never played. Hello?
If you're watching this, I'm dead.
Oh, you're Batman. Bye, Batman. Rest in peace. You poor thing. Dude, oh my Jesus! My God! Good morning! Fucking Christ! I shit myself.
You're done, you and I.
As if I'm not surprised he has an unknown assassin. That's probably Talia al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul's clan. Like, they always are like unknown. I'm like, it's literally probably Talia al Ghul. Oh, 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 oh. I would do good in this
You
fight.
spent years trying to fight this war, and for what? Corruption still flourishes in Gotham, lurking in every shadow. You don't
Lurking in every shadow.
I know it's you, Krizia Bajos.
I fucking told y'all! I told y'all! Oh my god, I just fucking called it!
Politics will not save Gotham from its reckoning. Not now.
The way my mind astounds me, I just predicted that. I didn't know.
This city is still under my protection.
Wait, why is he caked up? Look at his dick. I mean his ass. I mean his everything. He looks good. Yummy.
No one's coming to help you. I'll deal with you myself.
I thought the Joker killed Batman. That's interesting, isn't it? Batman's going through it right now.
Why fight? It will be over soon.
This is a really good fight scene.
Too much.
Gagged. I'm like in it. Like this is a good way to start a game. Like I'm in it. I'm like, yes, Batman, go! Oh, the ejector seat. Oh, not the museum.
You should know by now that you cannot.
Hi, House. Hi,
defeat
Harley.
me. I am eternal.
Yes. Oh. Oh. Oh, gagged him. Oh. Oh, gagged him. They're gagging each other. Oh. My God.
You earned this on the honor I granted you. I made you my heir.
Yeah, he's caked up. You see it?
Might have survived even this.
Unlike you, I'm not afraid of dying. I'd rather keep my humanity.
The way he gagged him, he just stabbed himself and then took the sword while he was being stabbed and headbutt him. He cleared. I'd be embarrassed if I was him. Oh, he looks sexy. Look at how sexy he looks. He's like dying and I'm like, look how sexy he looks. I like a man beat up. That doesn't sound right. I like a man to beat up this pussy. That's better. He cut his arm off? Oh. Oh. He's shirtless. Awooga! I just want to fucking shove my face in those titties. Why did I moan? Why did I moan? Why are my clothes gone? Thank you so much for the follow, Dano. Oh, Roz is about to stab him.
You'll be dead before they get here. Your precious family. I will slaughter them, one by one. And when they have drawn their last breaths, I will burn the city to the ground.
Why am I almost crying? I'm just so happy we get a Batman game. It's been 7 years.
You won't get a chance.
Is he blowing himself up?
Gotham is their city now.
I have chills. Oh my god. What an incredible opening cutscene. The hair on my arms is sticking up. Holy shit. That sets the bar very high. Just the opening cutscene? Holy shit. Oh no. Hi Marisol. I love you. Something tells me he's not really dead though. Desmond, thank you for the follow.
If you're watching this, I'm dead. This is a code black. This message was automatically triggered when I destroyed the cave and everything it contained.
Rich enough to have clothes.
I know what's coming won't be easy.
There!
Oh no. I'm gonna cry if they find him dead, please. Not all of his proteges.
Nothing we do is easy.
Oh, not Tim. I'm gonna cry because
Prepare
Tim's
for it
upset.
as best as I can.
My bye king.
I know you have to. I'm sorry it's come to this.
No, Tim Drake is bi. It's confirmed in the comics that Tim Drake is actually bi. Batman's like queer coded, and so is Joker, but it's never confirmed. But Tim Drake recently was confirmed to be bi.
Realize the Batman is gone.
He has a bi relationship in one of the comics,
Haven't trusted us since
and it's
Jim died.
canon.
You are clear to engage.
I was fighting people on Twitter about it. I was fighting all the like the crappy like ugly men. They were like if you're playing Batman and know the Joker, you can't be like, oh yeah, all these characters are straight. Like Ivy and Harley are definitely not straight. Joker's not
It
straight.
has the gear you need and all of my files.
Two-Face has definitely stuck his dick in someone's ass. Like.
Many of you knew Bruce from Gotham's celebrity pages. A handsome, charming billionaire. And he was that.
Not out of funeral house music, please. Where is
But
the class?
He was more than a headline. He was my nephew.
Who is that?
He was
Jacob
a friend,
Keane? I have no idea who that is.
a mentor, and a benefactor to those of us gathered here today. And to those of you who didn't know him as we did, I want to tell you this. Bruce was Gotham. He loved this city more than he loved anything. He was a protector of this city.
Alfred!
He worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring justice and equality.
Yes, gay rights.
There's nothing he wouldn't do. No project he wouldn't champion if he thought Gotham would benefit. And I think in remembering that, we remember Bruce as he truly was.
I'm so immersed, I feel like I'm at this funeral. Like, I'm like chills, emotional. I'm also just like a big comic geek, so this means like so much to me. I'm like so in it. Like, I feel so passionately about DC.
You've always had my back when I needed you. I know you'll keep Gotham safe. Good luck. And goodbye.
So hot. They did a good job making him hot in this game. Period. The silence. Who's gonna talk first? It's gonna be Tim. My money's on Tim.
How's Alfred?
Oh, shocker.
What you'd expect. Took him 3 years to agree to a vacation, and Bruce turned up dead. He asked for some time.
He knows none of us were there either, right?
What about you? You let Jacob Kane give the eulogy.
He offered. He thought it'd be easier on us if he was the one to do it. He's Bruce's uncle.
Oh, this is where we choose our path.
Hell of a speech. All that talk about a protector.
Okay,
Works
I
behind the
know
scenes.
everyone's expecting me to play as
He
Batgirl,
only
but
knew.
I have a exclusive
Catherine wouldn't be
skin
there if she
for
suspected.
using the deluxe
Can't see
edition
the
for Tim Drake.
anti-vigilante
I also
police
want to play the
commissioner
By
presiding
King
at Batman's
first.
funeral.
Here's something else she doesn't know. She has the body of Batman's killer in her morgue. Ra's al Ghul is listed as a John Doe, slated for cremation.
And what if the League of Shadows finds him? If they drop their dear leader in a Lazarus pit, he won't be so dead anymore.
You want to break into the GCPD headquarters for a what if? Be my guest.
I decrypted the case Batman sent with his message. We should
They could just
focus
put him
on
in the
that.
Lazarus
I
pit
looked
and
it
Batman
over,
could get up and
but
survive.
Did I get everything? It doesn't look complete.
I think Ra's interrupted him while he was writing.
He says this has implications that could shake Gotham to its core.
Ominous, but not exactly helpful. I saw a few places we should poke around. Construction sites, a quarry.
He also mentioned a Dr. Langstrom. Anyone know him?
He's a zoologist at Gotham University. Not sure what his connection is, though.
Let's divide up the work. We can meet at the Belfry when we're done. Get it up and running.
That's her hideout.
Who gets to talk to Langstrom?
I want to play as Tim. Character proficiency, stealth specialist, tactical genius, and bow staff protege. Red Hood, Jason Todd. Character proficiency, brute strength, powerhouse brawler, and master marksman. Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. Character proficiency, expert hacker, tough as nails, and single target bruiser. Dick Grayson, Nightwing. Character protege, proficiency. Have I been saying protege? Sorry, I can't read. Gifted acrobat, rapid combos, and esgrima stick expert. Oh, he's good with a stick. $70 for this game. Well, I paid for the deluxe edition so I could get a Robin from Teen Titans skin. So I'm gonna play Mr. Tim Drake in my first route. Then we will rotate over to Miss Barbara Gordon. Then we will do Red Hood with a finale of Nightwing. You have to play the game 4 times to get the whole story, so I'm excited. Great replayability. I would have gotten it, Harley. I would have. I'm serious. This game is already like really good. Like I'm already really immersed. The storytelling's amazing already. Very good so far. And we're only 30 minutes in. And the characters are really fleshed out. Like they all have like unique personalities already. Barbara's like, she's
I'm
on.
at Gotham University, so I'm looking for a professor?
Kirk Langstrom. The half-finished file was attached to Batman's Code Black. There's something big there.
I'll keep my eyes open for any clues.
I'm just making sure we're good. Okay, we are good. I like their personalities though. They're very fleshed out. Like Red Hood is still Red Hood. He's still like edgy personality, very dark. And then Nightwing is like the center of like Gotham and Batman's like protege, like his original protege. So he has very much a leadership role. And Barbara is very just, she's like witty, she's knowledgeable, she's like the smart girl of the group. And then Tim, obviously I feel like he's a little more vulnerable and he's a little more nerdy. And like he doesn't really, he's like the newest Robin too, so he's very newbie energy, which isn't a bad thing. It's just like, it's, their personalities are pretty great so far. Like they're fleshed out. Can I change into the costume? No, we have to unlock it, I think.
So we got a positive ID on this faculty dude, Kirk Langstrom.
Right. I'll call it in on the way to the morgue.
He's dead? Didn't we have to talk to him? How are we gonna talk to him if he's dead?
Oh no. Langstrom is no longer among the living. Any idea where his office is?
Langstrom's dead. Damn it. The note said his office is in Molten Hall, the 3rd floor.
Thanks, Belfry. Someone left the balcony doors open on the 3rd floor.
Can I do medium graphics? Let's see if I lag. Looks good, right? Still good?
This must be it.
Oh, it lags on the quick turns?
The police didn't spend much time here. This must not be where Langstrom died. Whoop, probably shouldn't leave without a closer look first.
Where?
What are these marks? They look new.
found anything, Robin? I've got absolute jack shit here.
There's something here for sure. I just need to piece it all together.
You need backup. Can't just let you spend all night in the library writing up theories.
I'm fine, Red Hood.
Right. Be careful. And if you need backup,
I'll call you. What happened in here?
There's blood over there, so,
This is clearly where Langstrom died. The GCPD. Langstrom appears to have been attacked at his workstation. Blood loss was significant. Signs of a struggle. Then whoever did this pinned him to the wall. How awful. Langstrom dragged himself towards that cabinet before he died. Why wouldn't he go to the door?
because he was looking for something.
Is that a hidden door? Langstrom was hiding something behind this cabinet.
Investigating crime scenes. Investigate the crime scene and search for evidence and uncover the truth. Use the L analog stick and explore the crime scene with the cursor. Important items will be identified with the magnet.
Langstrom circled specific dates. I wonder why. There's a phone number. I don't recognize the area code. Langstrom must have been a movie buff. Maybe the release date is significant. A thermostat would be a smart way to hide a keypad. Langstrom's tablet could have controlled the door. Langstrom has a microwave in here. I doubt this place is food safe. Wait, is it modded?
Oh. I have to connect certain objects. Langstrom was clearly a fan of the classics. The date of the film's release is 4/11/92. The 20 and the 21st of October are circled. Hey, that's today. That's funny. Release date of the game. A sticky note on the back of the notebook has a North American phone number on it. The area code 127 is underlined under the North American codes, not begin with the number 1. An old microwave, the keypad is modified. The computer parts are typically not found in this sort of appliance. And the display room has 3 digits. Yeah, it's this one.
There we go! Now let's see what Langstrom took this much trouble to hide.
Work. That's smart. A microwave to disguise a hidden door. That's funny. Well, damn. Mister was hiding a lot down here.
Whoa.
What the?
What is all this?
What is that? Is that a giant spider? What in the fuck is that? Is that a snake? What is happening?
Holy unethical research. Dr. Langstrom was hiding some serious skeletons down here.
Oh, wow.
Langstrom's workstation.
Please.
There must be something I can use.
EFFR. E fucking for real.
This could be useful. A hard drive. If it's back here with the sketchy research, it probably has something good on it.
It definitely does, Robin. I hear you.
I'm heading out. The police missed plenty here. Some weird marks on the walls, a hidden lab. I found a hard drive that might help us figure out what Langstrom was up to.
Can't wait to decrypt that bad boy. See you soon.
Thanks. I'm worried we're not gonna get out of here scot-free. Oh, this is pretty.
The fire alarm. That definitely wasn't me.
Uh-oh. Hey! Guys! You can't do that. Unethical. Oh, you want to fight?
Oh crap! It's Robin! What's he doing here?
Oh, clean.
Now's as good a night as any for the freaks to riot.
Gangs have been tightening their grip on Gotham since Batman stopped showing up. The freaks want the neighborhood to know they're in control.
They'd better cut their party short.
Ooh,
They're causing one heck of a ruckus.
gagged.
Shut up, fire alarm! Die, die, die!
Gagged her.
Sorry, you never saw me coming.
The average temperature that something lights on fire is between 424.
Gagged.
Hey, look up here! I'm a professor of setting stuff on fire!
Oh!
If I do this right, they won't know I'm here.
Are the fumes getting to you, buddy?
Just like Batman.
Smashy, smashy, smash,
Welcome in.
smash! Smashy, smashy, smash, smash!
I'll show you a smashy smash. And watch me gag this last guy. Ready? Watch this gag. Oh! Gagged. And that's how you clear. Thank you so much.
Why are you freaks so against higher education?
Huh?
Oh, fight me,
Enjoying the
bitch.
fireworks.
Oh my god. You better work.
At this rate, the whole building is coming down.
Combat is solid. Really loving it. Stop setting stuff on fire.
Hostages. Time's not
Oh
on my
no,
side.
not hostages. Oh, we're about to clear them.
I have money.
Can anyone hear me? Help! They won't let us go!
Shit! We got it. Time to burn!
Gagged them.
You were unbelievable!
And just like that. Gameplay is really fun. Okay, fun's over.
Broken.
My back's starting to hurt. Sitting up all day.
Let's see if
I'm gonna
you'll
lean back.
break too.
Hurry! Get somewhere safe.
Ready?
inbound. Are you okay?
Not bad, just a wild night. I'll head back with Langstrom's hard drive, see if we can learn why he was killed.
This is low graphics and it still looks really good. I'm only low graphics because like my stream can't take it, but still looks gorgeous. I'm just so happy. Like I could start crying. Like I am such a DC comic book nerd. Like I'm so happy this is finally here. Like I've never been this excited for a video game in so long. Like I'm fully gonna go like 18-hour stream, deadass.
No way. What is it?
A DVD copy of Batman the Musical.
I don't know what to say.
So true. I love Zatanna. Well, I hope they just mod her into this game, because that would be gaggy. How do I call my bike?
Someone set our college on fire? My neighbor's place got broken into
Hello?
yesterday.
Oh no, that's terrible.
I can't believe what the world is coming to.
What did they steal?
Some nice purses and leather jackets. It seemed like they were in a hurry.
What did that say?
Ugh, I hate thieves. I'm glad
Out of
you
a
heard
playable
me at
area?
least.
Wait, what? What does that mean?
Good luck!
All I'm saying is, Batman signed up for the job, and now he's not delivering. So they fired him.
Deadass, or in that way, in Nightwing's case, deadass. I am upset they didn't renew Young Justice for season 5. Jers, have you seen... I talk about this all the time when we talk about DC. Have you seen the Apocalypse War where literally Zatanna gets murdered by zombies or like zombie aliens, and Starfire gets ripped in half and Beast Boy gets exploded in a plane crash with Harley Quinn? It is the most obscene... It's so insane, that movie. It's fun to talk about. I'm glad it's not canon. I was waiting to see some gameplay from an actual person to see if I like this game, and this game looks really nice, so I want to play. Now I gotta convince my friend to also play with me. I know, and they're doing like a 4-player co-op like addition to the gameplay in November, which is exciting.
Galleria, but I'm not sure what to get with it.
I can't call my motorcycle, it's not working.
There's always handy things for the garage.
I probably already have
I don't understand what this
taken
means.
around.
Out of the playable area.
You deserve something nice.
Let's see what
I
happens.
suppose I'm trying to only buy what I need, you know?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Girl! It says use the up arrow. Look at the bottom left. You can call the bat whenever you're on the road. Call the bat cycle. I have to press the up button.
Good for you. Has it really been so long?
I'm pressing it!
I have to admit, I wasn't sure you'd say.
Oh, I had to be in the spot it wanted me to push it. My dumbass. Alright, let's not make all the gameplay about the bat cycle like we did in Arkham Knight with the Batmobile. Let's not do that. This is just for transportation. Let's not get crazy.
All right, on my way back to the Belfry, with a present.
Hurry up. I want to see what you got.
I better get over there!
Oh, the cops are on me? Guys, I'm working with you, please. Oh.
It wasn't my fault. 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 It wasn't my fault.
pop a wheelie? Oh, I can. Oh.
This is the GCPD. Put your hands in the air and drop your weapon.
Oh.
Drop your weapon. Do not run.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Oh. What if when he like got off, when he like, wait, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I'm a great driver. Ugh. Let me get comfy. I would not be driving. I don't have my license. I have such a fear of driving IRL. It's terrible. I am that gay that doesn't drive. That's me. Can we do an outfit change? I want to do an outfit change. So that's fun, please. I think it's better for everyone if I'm not on the road.
Nice work grabbing that drive from Langstrom's lab.
You're welcome.
Do we have any idea?
Let's see what it has in it. Miss Barbara, do your thing. She looks gorgeous in this game. Oh my god, look at Nightwing's
Once
ass.
we can get at the data, we can figure out what our next move is.
Booty so big.
I'm going out. I'm not gonna sit and wait for whatever this shit is.
We're waiting for intel, Jason. Once we have it, then we'll go.
Boys. Boys. Boys.
I'm gonna solve this case my way.
Boys.
Stop it!
Stop fighting.
He wanted us to work this together.
Exactly. They do have tension, though.
Whatever.
Do you guys know the backstory? I can explain it to you.
It has to be, kid.
The backstory is that so Red Hood is the original Robin, and he was framed to be dead. So Batman replaced Red Hood with Nightwing, Dick Grayson. So Mr. Red Hood Jason Todd has a little tension there because he's like, oh, Batman replaced me. It's like, whatever, with you, Mr. Nightwing. So there's tension between there because Batman thought Red Hood was dead because Joker killed him, but in reality, Joker didn't actually kill him. Joker just took Jason Todd under his wing.
I guess, since we're waiting anyway, we might as well take another look at what Bruce had on Langstrom.
Yeah, what is this Mr. Langstrom guy?
That must have been the secondary breaker. The primary went out months ago. I thought the backup would hold.
I got it.
No need.
Alfred!
I've put in a small fix that should hold for a while.
Wasn't sure you were coming, Alfred.
He is, but Dick Grayson like left to do his own thing.
When any of you need me.
So Batman needed a new Robin.
I'm glad you're here.
And then Nightwing came. It's a
As
whole
am
thing.
I, Master Tim.
Just take my word for it.
This place does need work.
I'm so happy Alfred's here.
Damn it.
We've got activity all over the city.
Sweet. Looks like my plan wins.
Oh, please.
Hold up. We still need the intel. And Alfred can't exactly set this place up alone.
Indeed, Miss Gordon. I have a list of supplies we'll need. I could do it on my own, but it would be faster if I had help.
You can count on us, Alfred. We'll divvy it up. Let's finish what Bruce started.
Montage! Oh, I love them. Are we just not gonna go? Look at him typing on the computer like a fucking himbo. Why is he sitting like that? Why is he sitting like that? He looks like such a fucking nerd. Fucking loser. His arch though? Hold on a second, Mr. Nightwing. He's ready to get it in the ass. He wants it so bad. They knew what they were doing when they did that. Hi. It says talk to him. What is it?
Langstrom's secret lab was kind of creepy, but also really cool. What about the quarry? Did you find anything interesting there?
If by interesting you mean useless piles of rocks in an abandoned site, then yeah. That hard drive better give us some answers, or we'll be back to square one.
Langstrom wouldn't have gone through all the trouble of encrypting the drive if it didn't contain something important. And with all of us on the case, I'm sure we could figure it out.
We should be out there getting answers, not sitting around waiting. Damn it. Why did Bruce have to hide this from us?
Girl, please.
I should have known something was wrong. If he had just talked to me, maybe...
Maybe he'd
Thank you so
still be alive.
much.
Or maybe you'd
Also,
be
welcome in,
dead,
Crank.
too.
So happy to have you.
I guess we'll never know. Just promise me that if you do find something, you'll share it. We're a team.
He's gonna
Jason.
find something and not share it, and we're not gonna
Okay.
know what he has until we play Red Hood's route. He's gonna keep a secret until endgame. I know he is. I know he's gonna play it. He's gonna hold his cards. But I also just want to put out like a PSA for this game. When I tell you guys, I'm gonna be so immersed in this. Like during cutscenes, I'm gonna try to not talk because I want to understand and really get all the information of this. Like I want to be immersed. So I'm sorry if I'm like late to your messages or like late to respond. I love having y'all. I just really like, this has been 7 years in the making. They haven't made a Gotham games for 7 years. Like I'm just so excited. I just want to be immersed. Like I usually like we play a game and we talk all stream, but like I just really want to like dive deep into this. So it's not that I'm ignoring anybody. Don't think I'm ignoring you. I'll get to it, but. Is there a quick change station? I want to use my $20 Robin skin. Oh, it's right here. Hello? Can you not? Oh. Work, I guess. Robin evades all decoy and attracts all enemies to it. I want to look at the skill trees. So what is this one? This is called Slugger. Increases crit, increases... Robin deals 20 more damage. Robin's critical damage of landing a crit is increased by 20%. His crit rate, oh my god, Genshin. Genshin is wondering right now. What does this do? Light-footed. Robin produces no sound. This is the shadow perk. Performs special takedowns of suspense enemies at a vantage point. Robin's successful takedown restore 25% of Robin's health. Performing a vantage hanging takedown also drops a person's enemy mind that lures enemies. Ooh, interesting. Robin can perform takedowns and stealth strikes on large enemies. Ooh, we need that. That is going to be very handy. We need that. Robin is harder to spot enemies and takes longer for them to notice him. That seems like a good skill tree. Like, I might go down that one. This one's called Tinkering. Elemental build up. In precision aim, Robin's pellets can stick to surfaces, creating temporary mines. Placing one and deactivate the first one. Robin can place up to 3 sticky pellets at once. Sticky pellets inflict 33 more damage. Elemental effects inflicted by Robin last twice as long. Robin deals elemental damage when he gains a 5% chance of dealing additional elemental damage. Yeah, we definitely need this. This is the tree to go down, his middle one. Alright, give me the suit. Excuse me, where is it? I paid a lot of money for it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where the F is it? I'm serious, where 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 the fuck is it? I did not pay $20 extra to not get it. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Let's look at these skins, though. New guard, transmog. Oh yeah, these are transmog. Transmog suits cannot be customized. Eternal, good outfits. Year 1. This is cute. It's also cute. Not him being bald. Why is he bald? I mean, I'm glad we got this. Look, it's Robin from Teen Titans! Ah! Look it! Ah! I'm so happy! It looks so good. Definitely worth the money. IDGAF. Definitely worth the money.
You don't think the freaks had anything to do with the murder, do you?
The freaks have no qualms about killing people. Still, this isn't their MO. I doubt it was them.
Great. So that just narrows it down to every other criminal in Gotham.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit. This is a huge fucking map, dude. Wow, I'm shocked. They actually gagged me. I was like, please tell me Arkham Asylum is on here. Wait, no, go back. Work. I wish I could just like switch characters to see the other characters. But I'm so happy we got this skin. Like, come on. I have no desire to watch American Horror Story anymore.
Seems strange, doesn't it, that Dr. Langstrom would keep such important research on a single external drug?
I'm actually like low-key a Ryan Murphy anti. Like, I really don't want to watch any of his productions. I don't want to watch anything anymore. Like, he's such a fucking freak. I really can't. I'm sorry. That's just me. For me, para me. He's like such a I like actually can't get behind it anymore. It makes me uncomfortable. He's like so bizarre. Like, I guarantee you in the new American Horror Story season, he's probably gonna write something about underage sex, because it's always in his fucking films, because he's a weirdo. Look at all the colors. So pretty. I turned up the saturation, but... I'm Robin from Teen Titans. Hee 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 hee. So worth it. Like, I literally DJAF. Where am I supposed to go? Defeat criminals and gather clues. We just have to kill people? Work. Don't have to tell me twice. I thought that was an open door. Hello, everyone.
Pay up. You pay up.
I should check that out. Just oh shit!
Eyes up.
That's gonna hurt for a while.
Get him!
Oh!
I'm not scared.
Owned. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh, when we kill enemies, we collect it like EXP for clues. Okay, I see. We gagged them. Hey guys.
I see you, Robin.
Hit!
Got hit by something. Send the ranch and hand it to us.
Gagged.
Belfry here. Happy to report we're now fully operational. Before you head back, though...
What's up? Do you need me to pick up a pizza?
The hard drive from Langstrom's lab requires a biodecryption key.
Biodecryption is way better than pizza. Guess I'm heading to the morgue then?
Indeed. With nights in Gotham as they are...
We're going to the
be
morgue?
quiet at the station. Relatively.
Sounds good. I'll check in when I get there.
Me when I go to the morgue. Hey, losers. Gagged.
Oh, hell! You shouldn't have come here.
Got him. Proto, thank you so much for your Prime sub. Thanks for using it on me, babe. Enjoy your ad-free viewing and subscription emotes. Thank you so much. Hiya! Yeah! They're supposed to have like gliding abilities, so I wonder when we get that. The cape? It's like on his face right now.
Busy night at the station. With any luck, it'll make sneaking in that much easier.
Why do we have to sneak in? Batgirl is literally the... Oh. Very stealthy right there. I jump in front of the cops. Hi, guys. Barbara's dad is the police chief. Why do we have to sneak in? I don't get it. Oh.
No, can't open or close it. No, I'm not gonna fix it myself. Where's maintenance? Yeah, a hole.
I didn't want to kill him because if we killed him, we'd probably get in trouble. Hi, everyone.
I'm in. Now, if I was a morgue, where would I be?
Downstairs.
Morgue's just on the other side of the bullpen. Try to stay quiet.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. That's a Sonic Adventure quote. No, Sonic Heroes, my bad. That's cream. Cream and cheese.
Goddamn freaks. That's my daughter's school.
We got a few in lockup. One caller in interrogation.
I'd pay $100 for 5 minutes alone.
Did anyone claim that John Doe body?
A-cab.
Buff guy, wild outfit.
Nope.
Damn.
You turned your body cam off right in front of Montoya?
Oh my god, Renee Montoya! Where's Gordon? Wait, am I not supposed to be here? Is this a secret? Oh, we are. So much for sneaking around. Sean, thank you for the follow.
Eat the student body! Barbecue the rich! Make it spicy! Shut up in there, you freaking nut job! Freaking nut job!
I swear, cross my ticker. I grew an ear on
Across your what?
Shut up or I'm coming in!
Across your dick.
And then I ate.
Keep that crap to yourself, weirdo.
I can't believe they just threw the bat signal down here. They don't even care.
Oh, that's so sad. They did throw away the bat signal. That's fucked up.
The GCPD caught Catwoman on their own. Didn't see that one coming.
Catwoman's locked up? Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, filing notes several pounds of diamonds stolen from Gotham City jewelers in the old Gotham City heights. That's a reference to Gotham City, the game. When at the end of the game, you can choose to save Batman or kill him. That's a reference. Oh, that's so cute. I love that Easter egg. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be 2 seconds. I need a sweater. I'm cold. Another day, another I'm fucking freezing my ass off. Love having a fucking chronic illness. What do you fucking do? Okay. My feet up, get nice and comfy. I love cream and cheese. I think we're gonna do like a lot of Sonic games in the near future.
Burn it. Don't waste it. I said shut up.
What is this?
Ugh.
Scarface. Ventriloquist dummy. Peyton Riley, aka the ventriloquist. Me when I'm like, yeah, let me get comfortable, and then I move up and get crazy because I want to read the dialogue, but I can't see it with my own eyes.
I wonder what Raish's armor is made of.
How did they already pick up his armor? Let's inspect. Wait, what's back over there? Oh. There's loot boxes. LOL.
The morgue should be on the other side of the bullpen.
Now would be a particularly bad time to be spotted.
Will you stop giving me shit? It's bad enough I'm writing a desk.
Security camera's gonna alert enemies.
Kane's
Use
got me
AR
on
search
sight.
for control
I
panel.
need to keep my nose clean for a while.
Oh! Oh my god, that was almost really bad.
She's definitely overreacting. I barely hit that kid. Not my fault he tripped and hit the curb.
Oh, and I will have fun.
Yeah,
I'll see you
goddamn
later.
Aaron's wanted to sue the city. Good thing he's got priors. The lawyers will use that. No, but I have.
They sure released the Langstrom scene quick.
The freak showed up. Kind of took the attention away. Plus, you know, it was clearly an accident.
An accident? Have you seen the pictures?
We close cases here. You want to play detective, Rook? You're in the wrong city.
Things have changed a lot since Commissioner Gordon died.
He died? Since when?
Darn. Guess not just anyone can walk into a morgue.
Someone must have a key. The desk sergeant, perhaps.
That was so close. I thought we were gonna get spotted. I didn't mean to do that at all. Literally, WTF was that? Let me go back. It's the down button. I don't like these controls right now. The control panel's right there. Drop down. to get on the other side of it. Oh. Oh. This sucks.
Their file on Red Hood. If I were the police, I'd be scared of them too.
I'm just gonna kind of do this.
Gotcha.
Oof. Close. Very close, very scary.
These are forensics people. Did someone knock them out?
Who knocked them out?
Keep your guard up.
Who snuck in and knocked out these people and did the same exact thing I did? Is it Harley? Is Harley gonna be our first?
They'll wake up with a headache, but at least they'll wake up.
What's the... Oh, it's Talia. Why didn't you just let her do that?
Talia al Ghul is here.
Perfect. Be careful.
You know you can't beat me. My beloved has trained you well.
Didn't your beloved tell you to stay out of Gotham?
Dead men's wishes don't concern me. Besides, I'm here to clean up my father's mess. Which in this case is the demon himself.
You're burning your own dad? It'll be hard for you to resurrect him if he's ashen, unless... That's the point. That's the point, isn't it?
Gag. That's the gag just right there.
Wait! Where are you going?
Talia! What the heck? Wait, if Talia's in this, then the leaks might be true that Miss Poison Ivy's in this. No spoilers, please. I should put chat in like a 10-minute timer, honestly. Do I have a mod available? Do I have literally any mods here? I don't think I do. Let me walk into my chat. Followers.
The ME already started Langstrom's autopsy.
You're looking for a biodecryption key, possibly a device that uses his genetic material.
Oh, we're playing Mortuary's Assistant again.
This reminds me, I should give blood again soon.
A blood sample taken from the toxology of the DNA test.
This is for measuring blood glucose. Does Langstrom's file say anything about diabetes? An MMO fob? Did he not know about the app? Guess Langstrom needed to keep an eye on his blood oxygen levels. It's weird that you can be allergic to everything that lives in the sea.
How is that weird? Don't say that.
This guy was managing some significant health issues. Biodecryption. I wonder if fingerprints count.
Oh, 100% they do. Oh, I was incorrect. Wait, go back. All right. Tattered clothing, likely the outfit of Langstrom when he died. I don't think that's important. It looks like this is important. Well, it's obviously this thing because it's glowing. Urine sample. Okay, let's read all the information. Find the encryption key. Which device conceals the blood encryption key? Which sample is required to use the blood encryption key? This smartphone has tactical keys. This is obsolete. Oxynometer. Blood. So this one obviously is the answer. And then which sample is required to use? Which sample? Is it his pee? It can't be. It's not. I was incorrect. I'm sorry. Jeez. Okay, perfect. We did it.
A modded blood glucose meter. That unlocks data with the right blood.
What is he hiding?
Belfry,
Like, who is this guy?
I think the GCPD saw what Talia did down here. I need an exit strategy.
Already on it. Be careful. They're sending in the big guns.
What?
Batman had access to GCPD systems, and now, so do I. Lights out, GCPD.
That works. Time to sneak out.
I'm so excited. I want to get a Silent Hill tattoo bad, like bad.
Entrance is secure.
Spread out. We'll find the perp.
Keep going.
Girl, is it that
They gotta be here
serious?
somewhere.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What do I do?
Belfry, I see the exit. Nice work with that light trick.
It was nothing. Now hurry back so we don't worry.
Hiding count is evading arrest.
Yeah, I'm debating on what I want to get. I gotta message the person in my area that does tattoos and see if I can get an appointment. But I also need these checks to clear. And then I can just do whatever I want. Oh, hi guys.
Don't! Belfry, the GCPD found me and they look pretty upset.
Do be careful, sir. It really wouldn't do to chip the paint on the bat cycle this quickly.
I'll do my best.
Don't chip the paint. Work. Night 1. I didn't stop any crimes. Awkward. Oops.
All right.
Oh, they're all out of drag.
Okay, lab notes, formulas, financial records, research into hearing loss, human experimentation and trials.
That looks like cash payouts to volunteers.
I recognize some of these jerks. They're all known gang members.
So Langstrom was doing medical experiments on criminals.
You're crowding me.
Miss Gordon. The hollow imaging system is back online as of this morning.
Perfect timing, Alfred.
Hey, I forgot how sweet your setup was, Babs.
It's ancient, but it'll do for now.
You and Master Bruce are the only two people in the entire world who would consider the Belfry systems ancient.
While researching Langstrom, I also called up all we've got on our party crasher.
Talia al Ghul. She was a match for Master Bruce in more ways than one.
Please.
Her presence in Gotham is concerning.
So's the fact that she torched her old man's body. We sure that was Ra's al Ghul?
His DNA was all over the weapon she left behind.
I wonder why she didn't take a chance and use the Lazarus pit to revive him.
That is weird.
Well, Batman.
Yes, it
would
is
just
tough.
find Talia and ask her himself.
Good thinking.
Yeah, I can double-check Talia's kunai for trace materials that we can track.
We should also hit the streets. Find out if anyone had any beef with Langstrom.
Sweet. Time to bust some skulls.
Why does he have a gray hair? Alfred, you're making me a little sus, Mr. Alfred.
We got new intel for the evidence board.
But yes, it is a sequel to the Arkham Knight game. It's the first one in 7 years, and it takes place right after.
Good riddance. Going in a Lazarus pit once is hell. Who knows what 1,000...
There's like references to the other games too. It's very cute. It's very good.
So you think it really was a show of mercy?
Oh, she was putting on a show, all right. But I doubt it was mercy.
You should have picked Mercy. He looks cute. His like out of drag lurk. They all look cute like out of drag. He just looks like a himbo. I wish there was like a first person. Still arched. Booty so big. Barbara's giving. She's giving. She kind of looks like me. Glasses, like red hair. Evidence boards. Evidence boards tracks information and discovered during your investigation that leads to the section that feature most relevant information in the next steps. Highlight the evidence and gain information for the next steps of your investigation. Work. Booty so big. It's very interesting. I find it so weird that she literally burned his body alive. They literally could have put Bruce and Ra's al Ghul. Well, Batman's body is still up, but Ra's al Ghul's body is burned alive. I mean, I guess like she could still revive him, but because he's immortal. Who is this Langstrom character? I don't get it. Yeah, why was he there to kill Batman? I mean, I know he's a supervillain, but what was his intention? Can I make the text larger? Like, is that allowed? Of course not. Wow. don't want to do challenges, I'm sorry. Well, because Talia al Ghul and Batman used to fuck. They used to fuck.
Seems like Dr. Langstrom was into some pretty wild stuff. I wish he was still alive. I'd ask him what the heck he was thinking.
He's kind of cute. I like his outfit. He looks sexy. What's happening? Is he okay?
Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, expecting Bruce to call me for help. And then I remember. I thought it might have been one of you calling just now. I was worried. Old habits, I suppose.
Alfred always makes me want to cry.
I get that way sometimes too. You were always looking out for Bruce. We both were. It's hard to imagine a Robin without a Batman. But I guess it's up to me to figure that out.
And I'll be here to support you. Gotham is in good hands.
Oh. That moment, please. Why did they do that? That hurts.
Heard Montoya stuck it to Commissioner Keane back at the police station.
Yeah, why do you think Dad liked her so much?
Because she was fiercely loyal to him.
No, because she wasn't afraid to call.
Complete investigation training? Is that what it says? Oh, and complete interrogation training. What is that? There's no interrogation training. Okay. Craft a new melee weapon using the crafting. We're playing Minecraft? It's literally the same. Okay. How bizarre. It wants me to do something over here, but I really don't. Oh, here we go. What the?
Physical and mental preparation go hand in hand. Here, we can train the mind to prepare the body. But it requires deep focus. Let go of your grief and concentrate on my voice.
Bones. We'll just scan criminals to locate the informant. Grab the informant to interrogate them, reduce their HP, and approach them with stealth. Enemies can be interrogated after they've been grabbed. Use stealth to approach them to grab an enemy.
We should probably have a talk.
Oh, this is awkward, but I'm feeling giving. Here's what I got.
Thanks for the tip.
God, I wish that were me.
I need information.
I got some things I can tell you, I guess.
I can work with that.
As expected. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Someday, you'll surpass even me.
Chaos erupted at Gotham University after a local gang known as the Freaks vandalized and set fire to multiple buildings. Police made numerous arrests after the blaze tore.
I thought it was just daytime. What is this? Oh wait, do each of the heroes have their own level? So my Robin's level 2, but the other ones are level 1. That's interesting. No, we're doing Robin first because I bought the game, the deluxe edition, to play as the Teen Titans Robin skin. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay. Oh, you have to do these multiple things. So, okay, I see. So you have to do the time training, get 10 predetermined crimes, and okay, I see. That's interesting. It's a like a side quest, but like not a side quest. I see. I want all the notifications to be gone. Go. Oh, I can equip them? Oh, I already have it equipped. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see what people do with mods, honestly. Because this game has a lot of potential. You also have to play every single route to understand the full story, so... While visiting the Belfry, your hero can play Spy Hunter at the arcade machine. That's funny. Oh, we can see the characters' bios. Cute. Work. That's so cool. Did they do some background on each character? A little bit. We just started, so I feel like they do, but it also, their characters are pretty fleshed out already, so. We haven't even met any of the villains yet either. Like, we still have to meet. Oh, you can see the different character designs too. I love that. That's so cool. I love that you can inspect like the different models. Love that. Can't wait till we get to Arkham Asylum. They're gonna make us go there. Hi Icon, I just got this game and I can't wait to stare at Nightwing's ass. Baby, it's good. I remember people were talking about that it didn't look good in the beta, but it looks good now. It looks real good. Need help with an art project. I have a favor to ask. This is for my art class. Oh my god. Are you okay? No. No, please. I want to make sure all the notifications are gone. Okay, case files. Langstrom isn't murdered. No matter what the cops say, see if anyone on the street knows what might have happened. Interrogate freaks and find out more information. Investigate a mob to find out more information. Okay. Case files are quests. Perfect. Yeah, look at the skin. It's Robin from Teen Titans. Isn't that cool? I had to pay $20 for it, but it's worth it. I have to pee again. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go to the bathroom before we find out more information on this person. Alrighty, let's jump back in. I really wish I had a snack. I'm so upset that they screwed me out of food earlier. I'm $20 in the bin. Like, literally, I ordered $20 of food, and it was a good deal because there was no, like, incredible, like, delivery fee. And then I guess the guy just like didn't pick up the rest of my order. But that's weird because Dunkin' Donuts usually puts it all in a bag, even the drink in the order. So weird. Yes. Just upset about it. Like I just wanted to have good food and play my Gotham Knights today, but apparently not. I guess I'll order food later for when we play Tales, so I can just eat food and watch the movie. Hopefully that food gets delivered.
Units needed near Gotham National Bank. 10:30. Repeat, 10:30. Robbery in progress.
Oh, work.
Got it.
Also,
I see him.
I'm gonna enjoy killing you.
Come on, we don't have all night.
You got it.
I gotta interrogate someone.
How'd I get stuck with this rookie?
You'll have to try harder than that.
Damn, I didn't investigate anyone. So sorry. My bad.
We're gonna be going on the scene soon.
Time to go.
Game looks great. It's so fucking good. Ooh, let's do this right here.
Hurry up, punk. Be it soon.
Where do you think he's going?
Oh, ow. You knock it off.
I got a shot.
No, you don't.
Get away with this!
Dr. Kirk Langstrom was murdered. Tell me what you know.
We didn't have any reason to kill him, let alone pin him to a wall. He paid us well to take part in his medical trials. Oh, but don't tell my boss. She'll have my skin.
That's what I thought.
Who's your boss?
Here we are.
I could see myself 100%ing this game. I don't know if I would do it on stream. I'd probably make some progress off stream, but I can see myself doing that. I see you later. Okay. Guys, I'm fucking hungry. Ugh. Right? Isn't it so good? Girl, please. Sorry, hold on. That is so funny. Robin looks so good. I don't know if I want to play him. Yeah, I'm only playing him because I got the costume and also because Tim Drake is a bi icon and I love my bi kings. So I thought I'd do his story first. Also, like, when you start the game, like, he's kind of like the quiet guy and he's like super sensitive. So I'm like, I want to play his story first to see like what his tea is, because he's like, he's really affected by seeing Batman unfortunately pass away. So I really want to see like what his story is. Then after that, I think I'm gonna do either Red Hood or I think I'm gonna end with Nightwing because I want it to be like a big bang. You know what I mean? So I think that's the order I'm gonna do it in. But you have to play all, like I keep saying this, but you have to play all 4 stories to get the get everything, like to understand everything, because they all have different stories. So I'm not mad. I think it's great replayability, so I'm down with it. He is. I hope there's a reference to his gay relationship in the comics, because he has a gay boyfriend. What do you mean by that, D? They confirmed that Tim Drake is bisexual, but he has in one of the comics he's in a relationship with another gentleman. Where is this? There's a crime over here. Where is this crime?
Units needed by 3rd and Bar. Officers, we have reports of suspicious behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm excited to see what modders do. I hope someone makes a Starfire or Raven model. I want to play as Starfire. I'll commission someone to do it. Yeah, crime was abandoned because it was underground. Like, I couldn't find it, dude. It also seems like you have to upgrade all of the characters. Like, you have to level them up and then upgrade them and do a challenge to get them to, like, almost prestige, if that makes sense. Because some of their abilities don't unlock until you prestige the character, which is kind of an interesting gimmick. Gagged. Oh, gagged.
He's marked for dead. Finish the job. Oh.
I need to interrogate him.
I want information on Dr. Langstrom's murder. What happened?
I don't know who burned the dock. His research was top secret. Even my boss didn't know I was doing work for him. Maybe it was just an accident.
Got it. Thanks.
Please. He said, got it, thank you so much, die. Oh yeah, there's definitely gonna be some nude mods, which I'm excited about. I can't wait to see them do it. Very impatient though.
You're not going anywhere. Now hold still. Get back here.
What's up, Shoddy? Junior, thank you so much for your 2-month subscription. Thank you so much. Enjoy your ad previewing.
I didn't know the mope was dead. The guy gave us good money and let him inject us with stuff. You sure it wasn't a robbery or something?
Belfry, nothing on why Langstrom was killed.
Well, we know where Talia is. Might as well talk to her in the meantime. Sending coordinates now.
Oh, perfect.
Excellent. Thanks.
Let's go find Miss Talia. Oh, look at this little boardwalk. This is pretty. I have no idea who is in this and who isn't. I just know Harley is, but also the leaks were saying that Ivy might be in. I don't want to know. Please no spoils, but Talia wasn't confirmed to be a villain in this, and now she's in it, so I'm hopeful. There's been references to Catwoman already, though. So I'm hopeful.
Belfry, I'm approaching Talia's location.
Good, but be careful.
I'm super curious to hear what she has to say for herself.
Don't trust her for a damn second.
Hi, Gimmick Puppet.
Talia, so you are still in Gotham. You taken over the League of Shadows?
I'm not their commander. They cast me out.
You're the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. He's dead, and you made sure that was permanent. Who else would get the job?
My late father insisted Bruce would be the next head of the League, despite his refusal. Since that ill-fated duel, all the League can agree on is carrying out Ra's mission.
If Bruce was Ra's successor, why did Ra's kill him? That doesn't make sense.
I agree. It was an irrational whim. I warned him the Batman would be his downfall. But repeated exposure to the Lazarus Pits breaks down a subject's mind. Eventually, their true self is erased.
Is that why you burned your dad's body? After stabbing him? That looked like revenge to me.
Consider it a logical choice. A painless end for him and closure for the League. And for me. Now they want me dead.
Glad someone has closure. Does all this mean that you're done with Gotham?
I have other matters to attend to.
It's a great anti-hero right now.
The funeral was tasteful. I'm sure Bruce would have appreciated it.
I think Bruce would rather still be alive, and you didn't answer my question.
No, but I can ask you one. Why would an apprentice to the cowl break into the morgue? I know you weren't following me.
Call it part of an ongoing investigation.
Ongoing? Left behind by Bruce. I wish you the best of luck. You'll be needing it soon. Because once the League regains its footing, Gotham will be in its sights.
She's doing an amazing job right now.
Exit, honestly. Belfry, I met Talia. I think she's split from the League.
Of course she has. Why didn't you ask her about Langstrom?
That was intentional. I'm not going to give information like that to someone I don't trust.
Good idea. Let's try and keep it that way.
It's seeming like they're writing her as an anti-hero.
There's something we need to see here at the Belfry.
Like very
what
neutral.
What can I help you with?
Got a message from Harley Quinn. You gotta hear this.
Yes!
Harley
Here
Quinn.
comes Harley!
As in... Oh boy.
Here comes Mother Harley! Yes, God! Hi, Blue. Welcome in. I'm so excited. Here she comes! Currently in the comics, Talia is something. I haven't kept up with the comics in so long. The last comic I read was when, do you remember in Arkham Knight when Ivy dies? They made it so there's a comic afterwards to basically revive her. I remember reading that comic, and her and Ivy fuck in that comic. Her and Harley fuck in that comic. They have like sex. It's hot.
Yeah.
Good luck, whoever you are.
Yeah, this isn't her first time in an Arkham game. Talia's been in Arkham games before, but she's usually a villain.
Yeah, but it seems funny Batman.
At least someone's willing to fight for us.
Maybe he runs things from an office.
No, she got killed in Arkham Knight. She got killed in Arkham Knight because they wrote Ivy as an anti-hero in that. She was helping Bruce save the
Harley
city.
Contacted Batman using, I don't know, a homing pigeon.
Okay,
and
I'm
USB
listening to
drive.
this. Shh, shh.
And that's how we got this video?
Harley Quinn. First sights of Harley. Big win.
Babs, help?
Do we think it's legit? Bruce never talked to me about it.
When Bruce worked with criminals, he didn't exactly keep us in the loop.
Yeah, it's not you, Tim. But it's also not crazy to think that Harley made this up.
Just play it, and we'll know.
I mean, I'm with him. Just play the fucking video. Oh, she looks so fucking good! I love her design in this game.
Hiya, Betsy. Been a while. It's weird, because I heard a rumor that you were dead.
Oh boy.
Anyway, I got what you wanted. Hope that ain't what got you dead. So come visit me at Blackgate. Ooh.
Wait, hasn't Harley Quinn been out of Gotham ever since, you know, her ex?
Killed me? That what you meant? Rumor has it she did some government thing. Went straight-ish. She's got something.
Oh, so this actually has canon of Birds of Prey.
Now.
Work. Birds of Prey is canon in this universe. Work. Work.
I added new evidence to the board.
Do you think this Harley thing is really worth following up on?
Harley may be out of her mind, but it's a brilliant mind. She helped a lot of people before she got, sidetracked?
Yeah, but why would she help Batman? Or us?
Bruce always tried to give criminals a chance to rehabilitate. Maybe she was thinking about going
Yeah,
to jail.
it is.
For all of 2 seconds.
Blackgate and Arkham are... What is this? What is that? How do I get up there? I think Blackgate's on an island, and then Arkham Asylum is like closer to the city. Oh! Oh my god! They have a pride flag! Oh my god, stop! That's so cute!
What Talia said about the League is concerning. If they really are without a leader, then...
There's no telling what they'll do next. Think they'll behave and stay put for a change?
They gagged me!
I doubt it.
Nah, it was worth a shot.
Does that mean Tim might have a little, you know?
Playing with a ghost, Alfred?
Too soon.
You might say that. I'm finishing my last game with Bruce. I couldn't save our board from the manor, but I do have our notes. We tracked each move. To continue the game if one of us was ever away.
Oh.
Are you winning?
Playing as Bruce, I can't see how he loses.
Bruce is dead. Maybe
That's
he wins
so
your game,
sad,
but without
I
him,
can't.
we've lost.
I'm not so sure about that.
Not so sure he's dead?
Not so sure we've lost. Bruce played an important role, but he never saw himself as the only piece in play.
Yeah, I think he's not dead. I think Alfred knows something. This music? I don't know what I'm doing in this. That music is bopping. Oh my god, please. I don't want to do all that.
Talia and now Harley Quinn? I don't see many days off in my future.
Dr. Quinzel is a formidable adversary. Perhaps even more so than her former partner in crime.
He was just holding her back. I gotta give her credit for striking out on her own. Even if she is a pain in the neck.
Period. I love women. Oh, you can switch! Work. Huh.
Authorities have released more information on a suspicious death at Gotham University.
Interesting.
The victim has been identified as Dr. Kirk Langstrom. After a forensic examination, police are now saying...
I need that cosplay of the new Harley, this outfit she has in this game. Like, I am so obsessed. Like, the sleeve, like, I need to make it. I don't know how I would make it, but it's so good. Like, the straight jacket sleeves, and then... So good, just so good. It's so good.
Moved in. Good luck.
They want me to use my bike to get around, but I like just walking. I like to feel the immersion. Don't tell me we have to sneak into Blackgate.
Penitentiary. A lot of bad people in there. Both in and outside of the cells.
Oh, you're right, JR. Blackgate is for regular criminals and Arkham is for criminally
visiting
insane.
hours must be over.
It's not like we can just walk through the front door like Batman used to.
Why not?
Then we'll have to go the long way around.
Why are we sneaking into a like, hello? Oh shit. Girl, how am I supposed to sneak in? There's someone literally watching right there. Like, how do I sneak past that? I was hoping he'd go behind him.
Better check that out.
Do the right thing and give yourself up.
Shit, I don't even know where to look.
I didn't sign up for hide and seek.
Come on out! I'm tired of this crap.
The prison was built on top of a fort dating back to colonial times.
I've read the articles. Did you find something?
I've studied the architectural plans and found some oddities. There may be an entrance to the west.
Thanks, Belfry. I'll head that way.
They could be hiding anywhere.
I gotta let them calm down, or we're gonna be fucked.
I know you're here. Get yourself up.
I wonder if Killer Croc will make a cameo.
And remember, don't trip along the way. This is...
The 3 confirmed villains are Harley, Clayface, and I think Penguin? Or Two-Face? Everybody else is kind of just free game. Liking this part. This looks fun. I know, I love this skin for Robin. It's like so good. I wonder how they classify villains as dangerous and criminally insane with the prison system. I wonder too. I think that's why Batman was around though. Batman was like, he helped like
Belfry, the Robin has entered the coop, so to speak. Commencing search for Harley Quinn.
The X on her map corresponds to cell block 3, past Nexus processing, but guards have withdrawn their patrols from that block.
Leaving inmates without supervision is never a good idea. I'll be careful.
What happened this time?
Spotted another runner. Crypt.
Sure he did.
We're getting more rabbits every day. I'm not paid enough for this shit.
Hey.
None of us are. We'll
No
stop
swearing.
him in solitary and then send the doc in to take a look at him.
Can't stand that guy.
You know this escape attempt is gonna buy him 2 more years at least.
Yep. Now I hate him even more.
Alright, y'all. You're not doing your jobs right, though, so it doesn't really matter if I take you out. Oh, shit. It's me.
Yeah, you know he's already dead, right? Yeah, but I'm not done yet.
Hey guys.
What the? I can see.
Let's calm down.
We got a guest coming in tonight. Keep the home fires burning.
Wait. Was that Harley?
I think so. The balloons.
And a riot. Definitely on the right track.
I hear her. Ow. Where is she at? Do you guys? I heard her laugh.
How to make you feel welcome.
Work. Oh, here she is. Mother.
Hiya, bird brain. I heard about you. The latest boy wonder. Ain't you supposed to be all smart and junk?
Thanks. I've heard a lot about you too.
Uh-huh. Was it too much to ask you to visit earlier?
Batman had you working on something. I need to know what.
Love her eye makeup too.
Wait a second. This means the Bats is dead. For real.
Or so we think.
Well then. He asked me to profile some criminals. On account of my being a brilliant psychiatrist.
I read your old papers. It's kind of a shame you turned criminal.
Hey! I am not a criminal! I'm misunderstood.
True.
Right. So, what were you doing for Batman then?
Everything is in this book. But I'm missing my piece de resistance. I need you to follow up on this here card. That'll make it perfect.
From a card catalog? Where's the other half?
Should be down in records. Okay. Bye.
Oh, she's so well written in this. I love it. She's doing a good job too.
Oh, and records are in the basement. Just head on through.
I love that
was
she's
the
locked
infamous
up,
Harley
but she's
Quinn.
still running the show.
She's something.
So good.
Hey, Figs! You
What was that?
I don't think so I think it's a different voice actor. There's something about her personality in this game I'm really liking. It's almost like she's the mastermind. I kind of love it. She's not just kind of like just running around causing, like she's always been smart, but I feel like she's really using.
You ever do the math? There's 10 of us to every one of them.
She's really using her brains in this one.
I remember seeing an elevator in the Nexus. It probably has a button marked basement.
Oh.
Tonight
Women.
is looking up.
Oh, women. I love women. Oh! It says hold R and then tap. Oh my god! Oh! Oh shit. Oh my god, I'm about to die.
Missed by a mile.
Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is hard. Oh my god, she's beating my ass.
Entering processing area now.
Poof.
Could be trouble. Robin!
You guys made me do this. Oh my god. All right. Oh my god.
Let's see what you can do.
Got some assholes here.
Fucking bar fight right now.
This doesn't look good.
I mean, period. Oh my god. I fall down.
You mean no one's gonna stop us?
The guards got their hands full. And I heard Batman ain't doing nothing no more.
The possibilities are endless.
Be quiet.
I thought you were supposed to be good at this.
This is bad.
This will only take a second.
Oh, Jesus.
Come dance with me, Robin.
Oh, shit. Oh! Work.
I have a feeling Harley already knows what I'm going to find down here. What is it that she wants me to see? Wait, is this an actual card catalog card? Neat.
Grave robbers in Gotham. The plague of grave robbers continues. At least a dozen graves in Gotham City cemetery were dug up last night. Police had no comments, but eyewitnesses says the sides of the news comes just days after a local woman claimed to see her deceased husband walking around the street. Oh wow, that's fun. Zombies. Joan Crow, she's been here before. Name was Elliot back then. They say a string of murders resembles what's in her novels. That's rich. She's a writer, for Pete's sake. She reads the paper. Put her in a private cell, don't worry. Her ick never stick, or she will never... Okay, whatever. She'll be out before we know it. Whoever the fuck that is, I guess. Jonathan Binley was in Gotham City lawyer around the mid-1800s, and he earned notoriety from assisting former slaves in their manumission papers, a task many lawyers of the era wouldn't even entertain. Oh. I didn't mean to do that. Oh well.
Huh. Interesting.
No. What is that? Solomon Grundy. It's like a parody on Solomon Grundy. Cyrus Gold, convict they say, crook they say, murderer they say, but soon peace will be mine. Died on a Saturday, buried on a Sunday, born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday. It is Solomon Grundy. Is he in this? I hope he is. An attachment of the note confirms that they did in fact have no idea what Gold was writing about. He died later that month and was transferred to Arkham Asylum. Please? Locate the record. Where's the record?
Nice. This file must have what Harley wants to know.
Perfect.
Looks like I've got what I need. I wonder what Harley's going to do with it.
Hopefully this is tied to what Batman was after.
Yeah, I love Solomon Grundy. He's like one of my favorites. Me and my dad used to like talk about Solomon Grundy and get the comics of Solomon Grundy all the time.
Wonder what Harley's after in that file.
No telling what Harley's thinking, but I'm sure she has a good reason.
Maybe you should read it before you give it to Harley.
Like she's
Oh, good. Things escalated while I was gone.
There's a mask right here.
Okay, whoever. I'm just taking names. Hey, cab. Then don't get in my way when I throw my fucking stick, you fucking loser. Oh shit. Oh! Oh shit. Oh! Oh my god.
But you're in jail. Where else would you need to be?
Got it wrong.
Hey, cab. Oh my god, what the hell? I'm coming, I'm coming.
You're back.
Blackgate really needs to go digital.
Gibby.
The helium, I can't. That's funny.
Now, how will I get this to you? Wait. I know.
That's funny as fuck.
Ta-da!
A balloon. Look, I get that you're Harley Quinn, but you could have just handed it to me.
All available guards to red block.
Play nice.
Seriously? You probably won't just let me through, huh?
Move, I gotta get the balloon. I love this.
Sure you want to do this?
Yes! Oh my god! Period! Living la vida loca. Period! And it's not the redacted Martin version. This is so cool. That was everything! That was so cool!
Uh-oh. Fun. Harley's been busy. Where do we even start with this?
That was seriously everything. Oh my god, I remember seeing that and the comments being, this is so niche. Like, I can't. While it's loaded, but I don't want to hit the continue button because we're probably going to get a cutscene. I just need to go to the bathroom again. I'm so sorry. And then when I get back, I'm going to order food and hopefully it gets delivered because I have nothing in my fucking stomach right now. Just caffeine. Hello? Why am I tangled like this? Perfect. Living la vida loca. I wish I could get Burger King. I really want Burger King. Maybe I can text my sister. I like that I accidentally made everybody in my chat an Ethel Cain stan when that era happened. I love Ethel. Everybody's talking about Taylor though. I'm like, I don't care about Taylor Swift, please. Enjoy your Taylor though, everybody. Hi, kitten. It's honestly so good. We just did a section of the game, and it was a Harley Quinn remix of Livin' La Vida Loca. It was so cunt. And I'm really enjoying the game so far. People are getting sponsored by Gotham Knights. I want to be sponsored. My sister's probably not coming home today.
Hiya, bird brain. Miss me?
How are you calling me, Harley? This channel's secure.
Don't you worry about that. I wanted you to know that you'll be seeing me again real soon. Goodbye!
Hello? Did she seriously just hang up on me?
Probably just gonna order local. Let me do that. Hold on, I'm so sorry. Just, I need food, guys. No, it's so slay. Like, I'm really enjoying this fucking game. And, like, I needed this. Like, I've had such a shitty couple weeks. Like, I needed something like this to give me, like, just, like, serotonin for my brain. Let's hope my food actually gets fucking delivered today. Like, Jesus. That was fucking stupid. I'd have to agree, yeah, I agree. I got mozzarella sticks and french fries and chicken tenders. I'm gonna regret getting the mozzarella sticks, but I just kind of need food for like a full stream today. Girls gotta eat for a long stream. I mean, come on. So true. Thank you, kid. I'm always eating. You know it. No, girl, just jump over the fence. There we go. He is hot. Honestly, I want a man in the bedroom to wear a Robin costume and then, you know, do the thing. What did you get? About that roleplay life. Honestly.
Is that Robin? Really?
Don't say you don't have the same fantasy. I'm just being hashtag be real. Thank you so much for the follow, and I hope you Can patiently wait to the 10-minute timer. I'm so sorry, I just don't want any spoilers. No, I will be his Starfire. Well, maybe not Starfire. Well, not this, whatever. In the comics, Robin and Starfire break up. Swamp Unicorn, thank you for the follow as well.
New data was added to the board.
New data. Talk to Alfred. Where's Alfred?
In today's Gotham Minute.
Thinking about what happened at Blackgate, Master Tim?
We should have known Harley would try something. Now she's off to do Harley stuff.
She hasn't left any other messages or maps. Do you have
So
any
true.
leads on where she might
Thank you,
have gone?
Colwitz, for using your
Not yet,
Prime.
but she's worked with the freaks before.
What do we
Maybe
think
they
so
know
far?
something?
Hashtag yes.
A good
House, there was literally just a section of the game where they did a remix of Harley Quinn singing Livin' La Vida Loca. Honestly, so cunt. Thank you for 8 months though, Colwitz. How are you doing? Happy to see you. I think I'd be Raven. I love Raven. I'm definitely Starfire because she's a Pisces and she has red hair, and because I would be taller because tiny tops reign supreme. Oh my god, I didn't realize that Robin and Starfire's taller and Robin's shorter. Oh, that's so cute.
Place to start then.
Okay. Also, the gameplay is really good. Like, the storytelling's really good. Like, everything is eating. I'm loving it. Like, I needed this. Like, I needed the serotonin in my brain. Like, I needed this game. This game has cured every facet of everything in my brain cells. It's just so good. Like, it's been... We did the check. Last game was released in... It was released 7 years ago. So this is a good refresher. What is this? Girl, please. Be serious. Oh, you can change the colors. That's cute. Why is he bald in this? Like, what? Like, actually, why is he bald? This is kind of a cunty skin, honestly. No, go back. Oh my god, please. Ooh, what the? Ooh, that's cute. I like this outfit on him. Very cute. Also, wait, Mad Mod? Wasn't Mad Mod voiced by SpongeBob? No. Yes? No. That's what's his name. That's Mumbo Jumbo. My bad. Mr. Krabs voices someone in Teen Titans too. Oh, the modders will release an underwear skin. Trust and believe, it will happen. Well, because Nightwing's already kicked the fuck up. Can we... I want to switch the characters, but I don't want to disrupt the game. I want to just see the costumes of all the characters. Oh, this is her default. This is her other costume in the other game. Ooh, I like that one. Oh, this one's really cute. It's like retro. Oh, yes, Pony. Work. Oh, she looks good as fuck here. Oh, that's cool. Oh. That's cool. Oh, mother. Oh, that's fucking cool as shit. Oh, it's her Nightwatch skin. I'm gonna change all of those to their Nightwatch skins. Like they're back in the day outfits. I want to see these other skins you can make. That's so cool. Let's see Mr. Himbo himself. The way he stands like a chab. This is what Talos looks like. Right, let's see. I hope there's a original Red Hood. Kinda sucks so far. Ooh, that's cool. Girl, these fucking suck. That's cool. Ooh, that's fucking really cool. The Shinobi skin line is really cool. Oh, Talos. That's a good skin right there. I'm gonna change all of those to the Nightwatch because I paid money for it, so. Let's see. Look at him. He's caked up though. Look at his ass. We won. We won. He does have a good body though. I'm very excited they kept him looking good. I haven't even looking at the skins. I'm just looking at his ass. Yeah, isn't it good? He has body. I don't like his long hair skins though. Whoa, that skin's so cool. Oh my goodness, Mr. Nightwing. Oh! Big dick. Huge wiener. Look at it poking out. You're gonna, oh, my eye. Oh, Jesus. I'm glad I paid $20 extra for this skin. I won. Let me go outside. Let's investigate this body. Excuse me, everyone. Oh, damn it. Wait, we can do a training. We can do a training. Skip. I'm only here to look at
Physical and mental
penis.
Preparation go hand in hand. Here, we can train the mind to prepare the body, but it requires deep focus. Let go of your self-doubt and focus on my voice.
Holy shit! Bruh! Bro! Bruh! 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 Holy moly! Y'all can't get this skin anymore. You had to pre-order the game to get it. Big win for me. Best decision of my life. Holy shit! Oh my god, he has a huge fucking ass. Yeah, I fear for my health after this game. My view count is going up, please. So yeah. Remember when I said a couple minutes ago that I want someone to dress up as a Robin or Nightwing in the bedroom for me? Yeah, that is definitely something I still want. He does have 3 batons, like shit. Are y'all seeing this? Whoa! It's like he's hard. Like, do you see him? He's literally hard. It looks heavy. Like, it looks like a baby arm. Just on the table. See, and he has a fade going. You know I love a fade on a gentleman. See, if he had a fucking mullet or an ugly ass hairstyle, I would not be down. Just saying. Sorry. That's not.
Nightwing? Damn it, the coast was supposed to be clear.
I'm gagged. This skin is so good. Oh! Oh, thank you, Cole, for gifting a sub. You don't have to do all that. Thank you. I think Lib's taking a little nappy, but Lib said they'll be back. I like this content very much. You gotta give a tip. Giving a tip to Nightwing. Well, we could see his tip. Okay, we need to... How do I get out of this? Cancel training. I would like to progress the story. I don't... Like, I want to play as Nightwing now because obviously that skin is, like, good, but... Like... I don't want to, like, disrupt the story. Like, what is the tea? I think you can play as all... I don't know. Originally, they said you have to play as each character to understand the full story, but if you could just switch in here, that makes me think otherwise.
So, that visit to Blackgate...
Yeah, the Robin, this one right here is bi. Tim Drake is bi.
Mattress forts on fire.
This one we're playing.
For our friend to stay in her cell.
Tim Drake.
Then again, this is Blackgate we're talking about.
She knew our priority.
Let's look it up. Hopefully no spoilers.
And knowing Dr. Quinzel, she's only getting...
Gotham Knights, do you have to play all the characters to understand the story? Gotham Knights will require you to play multiple playthroughs to see the full story. Gotham Knights is a less month away, and the overall sentiment towards the blah, 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 blah. As of now, even getting through one playthrough of the game doesn't look at all appealing. According to devs, you'll need multiple. This is not written right. You'll need multiple to get the full story. WB Games Montreal game director Jeff Eleanor and cinematic director revealed that each character will have a unique perspective of the overall story, so you have to play through them in order to get the full picture. Okay, so I was right. So as much as I want to play Nightwing, I don't think we can, because if we switch a character, it'll disrupt the flow of the story. And we won't it'll be disrupted and skewed. But I mean, this skin is cute. He looks really hot. Open Harley Quinn's book and analyze. Stop. These like little cutscenes of just us. Oh, Nightwing can go over there.
I hate this. I feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
And which shoe might that be?
Harley. There's no way she's not planning something.
Okay, let's open this book.
Wow. Harley's profiled some seriously antisocial prisoners here.
Look, something's going on at Blackgate. We lean on that warden, we're set.
these records go back centuries, man. The warden's new. Doubt she's involved.
He's so cute.
How did I miss this? Oh, right. Harley's stupid system makes no sense.
Hey! Watch your mouth.
Babs. Hey, Babs, what did you figure out?
They all got out on appeal. That's what Harley was tracking. In every case, key witnesses were murdered. Look, they were all pinned up with knives, just like Langstrom.
Bruce is onto something.
Oh? I think I've got something. Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin.
Fuck.
He's like everyone else in here, except he served his sentence every single time he was arrested.
Someone must have hung him out to dry. Might be he's willing to talk.
He runs the Iceberg Lounge now. Claims he went legit.
He definitely runs more than liquor through that bar.
I wouldn't know. Batman would never take me.
If you wanted a fake ID, Tim, all you had to do was ask.
Oswald's dangerous. And we can't forget Harley's still out there. We have to be careful.
Relax, Dick. We got this.
Relax, Dick. I'm not so sure, Swamp Unicorn. I'm a little scared. Well, that's his gimmick, is he's the edgy character.
I can't stop reading Harley's book. It's a who's who of Gotham's underbelly. Impossible to put down.
Don't let her hear you. She'll put that quote in the book cover.
It's like the pit crew on Drag Race, that they stuff the bulge. Wait, there's a cutscene over here with Alfred. Let's watch it. About to cry, because every one of these cutscenes with Alfred is sad. Well, it made me want to switch to him, so I guess we can just switch, because I wouldn't be able to see this without playing Nightwing.
You could visit him.
I could what?
He went to yours when... You could visit his grave.
Ooh, trigger warning.
You haven't.
I'm not the one staring at the...
I haven't either.
You know.
Dad died 11 years ago, haven't gone to his grave. Oh. Felt.
Sometimes
too real.
you're an idiot, Grayson.
That was an interesting... Maybe me and Dick are alike.
So fun
No,
fact,
I just like looking
according
at
to
his
the
dick.
warden, Harley wasn't even an inmate.
She was just there to hang.
And not her literally just pretending to be locked up. She's so real for that. Next month, I think it's gonna be 12 years of my dad being gonzo. I want to get a tattoo next month for him.
I've intercepted a rather urgent call from Star Labs. This seems different from the usual nighttime disturbance.
They conduct pretty dangerous experiments in there, don't they? I'll head over now.
That's cool. Yeah, my dad being dead. Yeah, that's very cool. Very epic. That's why I like this game. Makes me sad because anytime there's like death, I'm like, fuck. because it makes me cry. I'm like, felt that. Like Batman literally being a like father to these people. I'm like, oh my god, fuck. I'm gonna start crying.
I feel like Batman would go for a less obvious entrance.
Anyways, I'll be better if I just stare at Nightwing's ass. It's fine. Ooh! This is pretty. Are we going to a club? Oh my god, we're going to a club. My dad had a tattoo of a devil on his ass. I know that sounds crazy, and don't ask how I know that, but I want to get a tattoo on my thigh like he had on his ass. Just to like... just like his thing, you know? I do think getting a tattoo on my ass would be kind of cunt, though.
Ain't seen the bat around for a bit.
Or maybe he's messing with somebody else for a change.
How about a nap?
Oh god, I wish this were me. Wow. Oh, music. Me next, Nightwing. Me next. Me next.
Speak for yourself. I don't need to get my head kicked in. Again.
I like the view. He's so hot.
I miss when things were exciting. It's just been quiet for too long.
Speak for yourself. I don't miss the fatness.
I'm fucked.
They'll show up sooner or later.
Where's the poppers? I actually found them the other day. I totally forgot. I looked down here when I put my Lay's chips in the thing and I found them. Poppers. Hi, Ivy.
Oh! Someone's here!
Damn it.
You're not going anywhere!
Hi, JP.
You gonna let him outrun you?
Oh my god.
Amazing!
Brace yourself.
Where did that come from?
Finish the job. Escape.
Cut him off!
If we lose now, we have to answer to the boss.
Gagged. I did 2 silent takedowns. What are you talking about? Yeah, the combat is really good. I wish there was like a secret interaction to make your character dance. Wait, there's emotes. Wait. Oh, it's locked. Why is it locked? Why is it locked? How do you select your emotes? I don't understand that. Why is it locked? Wait, the dance emote is like, it's for the deluxe edition. You don't get that on base game. So why is it locked for me? When you finish... What? It's a bug. You're supposed to have it unlocked, but it's literally a glitch. That's stupid as fuck. Oh my god, it's like buggy to even do an emote. Oh my god, I can not even do an emote right now. Do you see that? That's so... Alright. Well, I love paying $20 extra for it to not work. Thanks, WB Games.
And it's locked.
That door's sandalwood. Custom job. Fixing it's gonna be a pain in the ass.
I have questions. Tell me what you know and I leave.
Smile. Viral video of you assaulting reformed citizen is the last thing you need right now.
Reformed, huh? I'll believe that when I see it. It is weird you did your time, though. Unlike your friends.
Someone's done their homework.
Who's giving out the get-out-of-jail-free cards?
Gagged him.
If you really want to go down this rabbit hole, you need to know there's no coming back from it.
Just tell me what I need to know.
I'm gonna spell this out for you. With the bat gone, you're not worth my time. Get lost.
His ass is so fat. It's actually insane. He's built just like me. That's what my ass looks like. Maybe I should get a Nightwing cosplay. It's a shelf. Is my food here? I hear my dogs barking. Where did he put that paper? Oh, loot box. Why didn't he just interrogate the penguin? Well, because there was a camera, but... Is it really that serious? Yeah, I did. Well, because my Dunkin' Donuts literally, like... I'm gonna have to file something. Like, they won't
Belfry,
issue me a refund.
My friend Cobblepot wasn't in the mood to chat. Whatever he knows, he won't say.
All right, come back to the Belfry and we'll regroup.
What is wrong with you
Sounds
guys?
good. See you there.
Make sure he can't run!
Bye, Flob.
Maybe you vigilantes aren't all bad.
We're
Doing
not.
what I can.
That was almost bad. Oh, hi guys. I wonder if we're gonna have any other bad bitches in this game besides Harley. I hope Catwoman or Poison Ivy make an appearance. Or Huntress, or Black Canary. Just hope we get more girl bosses.
Whoa. Nightwing. Maybe I should go.
I like the view. You're my best view. Yeah.
Good luck, whoever you are.
Best $20 I've ever spent. It's honestly true. Oh, it's true, it's true. We are gonna have to take a break from this to play the new Tales from the Borderlands game, but we will hop back on this after we do a little bit of that. Just kind of hopping around. We'll do like a chapter or two of the Borderlands game.
Hero.
I pinned new information on the board.
Hello?
In today's Gotham Minute, we focus on a prominent and often controversial...
Penguin wouldn't talk. I don't have the same sway here I had back in Bloodhaven.
You may be surprised to learn Batman struggled with similar challenges early in his career. So for a time, he focused his energies elsewhere in the city. When word of his work got out, people were more inclined to cooperate.
The city. We've been so caught up in Batman's last case, we haven't been paying attention to the rest of Gotham.
Gotham may not know Batman is gone, but it certainly feels his absence. There has been a marked increase in gang-related crime.
Plus Penguin's own businesses. Maybe if we pay those a visit, take care of a few of the crimes, he'll be ready to talk.
I'm gonna have to go.
You've also received messages from Lucius Fox and Detective Montoya.
Oh, Lucius.
They may be able to help.
Remember when he died in Telltale Batman? That was so weird.
Batman's gonna be a tough act to follow.
You never were one for stage fright.
How bizarre. I think my food got delivered, but my family isn't home to get it, so I'm gonna have to go outside in drag to go get it. Oh, it's dark out too. I'm scared. Someone hold my hand. Oh my god. Also, let me stretch! Alright. I'll be back. They might do some like dialogue while I'm gone.
Police are investigating the involvement of one of Gotham's most notorious criminals after a recent riot at Blackgate Penitentiary. Harley Quinn, the psychiatrist turned felon and frequent rival of Batman, was reportedly seen at Blackgate during the riot, despite the fact that she is not currently an inmate. According to sources